Clerk Paul, can we call the committee hold to order, please?
Lennon.
Here.
Boywood.
Here.
Leisure.
Here.
Bate.
Here.
Pavone.
Here.
Ruiz.
Here.
Aaronella.
She's here somewhere.
Carmichael.
Here.
8.5 present, Mayor.
8.5 present.
You mean 7.5?
7.
So we have just the one item on the open, the police body camera presentation. Commander Fellows, Chief.
Good evening, everybody. So everybody knows that the state has passed the state statute making body cameras mandated. They didn't pass the funding for it, so this is an unfunded mandate that we have to have by January 1st of next year in order to stay in compliance with the state. If we are not in compliance, the state can discipline us by taking away some of our grant funding. It's unknown if it would be just the police department grant funding or the entire city's grant funding. So we have contacted Sourcewell, which is a national cooperative purchasing company, to vet some body camera companies. I will turn the mic over to Commander Fellows, since he did all of the legwork. He contacted all the companies. He got all the quotes. He visited departments that have the product. And at this point in time, Mike Fellows.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, members of City Council. Really where I'd like to begin is a little better understanding in regards to what Sourcewell is. Because truthfully, when I started this project about 3.5 months ago, I was a little bit confused in regards to exactly what Sourcewell was. And to be perfectly honest, similar to how we purchase vehicles, I was kind of under the impression that they kind of gave us one vendor to go with based upon their actions, and that's actually not what occurred in this case. So the way that Sourcewell works, specifically with the body cameras, is they basically did all the bidding for us. They took that big step and that time saver pretty much away from us. So what they did back in 2020 is they actually put a RFP out for companies that deal with, it was a little more generalized, cameras for the police, basically. They went with 80, they sent out 80 different packets to companies that they knew that had those types of products, and actually 23 companies returned back proposals to Sourcewell. Basically, again, like I said, basically taking the bidding process away from, not away from, but one less thing that we had to deal with. So Sourcewell then vetted those 23 companies that came back, and they awarded 4 companies with what they consider awards through Sourcewell. Those 4 companies were Panasonic, Motorola, Axon, and a company called Veridian Weapons Technologies. So again, what mine and the couple of the members of the department that I did, again, we wanted to vet all of these companies so that we obviously got the best product for what our needs and our wants were. However, obviously also during this process, and as you can see through the staff study that I have given all of you here tonight, it's not only about the vendor for the body camera or the software that they provide. We also have identified that with this unfunded mandate and the requirement to have these body cameras, that there's also a need on the back end. There is a need to most likely hire people in order to manage it on top of the people that we already have. So not only did I vet the companies by going out and getting quotes and things like that, but as Chief Simaglia said, I went to 10 different police departments. Some had Axon, some had Panasonic, some had Motorola, to not only vet those vendors, but to also speak with their police administration to determine what they needed manpower-wise to run the systems that they currently had. So again, it was not just about the vendor. So, and again, that's part of it. So we went out and we spoke with all the vendors, the 4 that Sourcewell vetted for us. One of which, right off the bat, we were able to eliminate, which was Veridian Technologies. That company, the only product that they provide is a weapon-mounted system. So weapon-mounted camera. They don't offer officer-worn cameras. So when I spoke with their representatives, that was one that we were able to just check off the list. So then we met with Panasonic, we met with Axon, and we met with Motorola. The parameters that we set for this were initially 125 body cameras, which would cover all of our sworn officers, along with any licensing or any additional equipment that was needed for us to be able to manage those 125 cameras. We also were looking at taking this technology, bringing it to our in-car, into our police cars, because at this point, we really don't have any cameras in our squad cars. And along with our, the interview rooms in our investigative wing. And the reason for that is data is a key to this and is a financial part of it. So we knew that we had to identify where the biggest draws of what we would consider, we'll just call it third-party storage, which would be our interview rooms. Not that we want to have big major cases, but we do have them. And at times we could have 4, 5, 6 different interviews that are 2, 3, 4 hours long, depending on the type of crimes that they are. And that in itself would be a huge draw in regards to third-party storage. So those were the three, those are the 3 initial points that we identified as a need in regards to these cameras. When we took a little deeper dive into things, we also read we also got into the law, the body camera law, which is also a part of the packet that I have for you this evening. And what we also did, what we also identified was our auxiliary police officers. One main point of that, the body-worn camera law speaks of officer, not specifically sworn. Their term through the law just states officer. And one of the points that they make as an officer is if some of their duties requires the protection or deterrence of crime. And we do have details, we do have tasks that some of our auxiliary officers do that do fit that criteria. So what we then did, we then realized that we did also have to add on the auxiliary police as a part of this body-worn camera mandate. Because whether some of you know about the law, there are some also wordings in there. If we don't provide the cameras or they don't have them, there could be some criminal aspects to that as well. So that's one road we did not want to go down. So with that, we kind of changed what we were looking for to add some additional cameras and obviously the licensing needed for the auxiliary police officers. The short of where we kind of landed in regards to our recommendation basically fell on Axon, and that's who we are recommending for our purchase this evening, for multiple reasons. We do understand that, as you'll be able to see through the numbers that are also there in the packet that I've got for you tonight, you've got quotes from Axon, you've got quotes from Panasonic, and you've got quotes from Motorola. When we vetted all of these companies, Axon, even though it is the more expensive company, they still provide the more superior, better product that fits the needs of the Berwyn Police Department. Because again, as I stated earlier, it's not just about the software and the hardware. We have to take a look at the amount of manpower that, it does take to run the back end. And with the applications, with the services that they provide, it is just the product that fits our needs and wants better than all the others. And more similarly, when I spoke with different police administrations during my research process, other reasons that we went with Axon is most of our surrounding departments already utilize them. Our state's attorney's office utilizes them. Some of the other products, some of the police chiefs are moving away from other vendors because they can't provide the services that they were promised. Specifically, that's one reason why Motorola did not make the top of the list. I had multiple police chiefs and police administrators from a couple departments that basically told me that they were leaving Motorola because the product just wasn't there, the service wasn't there, and the customer service wasn't there. And obviously, if we're dealing with broken products or glitches, things like that, we must make sure that the product that we have and the communications and the relationship that we have with this vendor is secure. Similarly with Panasonic, one of the main points that kind of, again, didn't make Panasonic reach the top of the list either, is when we're talking about the management of data. We've had multiple conversations about different aspects about digital evidence, and the city is moving away from on-premise servers or hardware to more cloud-based systems. I know that there's infrastructure going in for bigger lines and fiber, things like that, through the Director of Information Technologies, Mr. Franks. And him and I and similar things have many conversations about those two, and we are moving to the cloud. So as a part of the proposal, we were looking at we wanted a cloud-based system to manage all of this evidence. Panasonic does provide a cloud-based service. Their main push is on-premise. Their cloud-based product is relatively newer. It's about a year or 2 years old, but no one in the state of Illinois, any law enforcement agency within the state of Illinois, utilizes their cloud service. So I know we've done some things in the city, especially on the police department side, where we've been kind of the guinea pig for technology and applications and things like that, and for the most part, it really hasn't gone well. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to be the guinea pig for another company to try their software and hope that it does everything that they tell us. Where I had gone to different police departments, and again, we saw what Axon provides. And unfortunately, the only thing that I could find on the Panasonic side when I spoke with and went to these other police departments is all those departments had hardware or servers on their premise. And obviously then they're dealing with, if they fill up, then they have to replace them. And there's those added charges. When we speak of data with Axon, any product that we purchase from Axon, all of that data is included. It's unlimited. The only thing that we have to be worrisome of is what I spoke of with that third-party storage. And obviously that's something that we have to monitor. By purchasing the interview room cameras and that system, again, that's something that we've identified as our biggest draw. So the only thing that we really have to be, again, worrisome of is when we're bringing in other video surveillance, photographs from scenes, and again, that's not as a big of draw as that is. We have built in a little bit of that third-party storage within this proposal to obviously combat that. But again, with the management and all that, we have to make sure that we fall within those lines. Could that, if we're seeing an increase, is that something that we may have to increase down the road? It is. I'm not saying that what is initially in this proposal will be able to suffice the city forever. It's 12 terabytes. So, so again, that's another reason why Axon again was our push, because of the unlimited storage from the devices. The packet there that you have includes, like I said, the staff study that I was able to complete, which talks about, again, the unfunded mandates, the problems that we see here as the department, and ultimately how to address it. Within that packet also is the quotes from Panasonic, the quotes from Motorola, and the quotes from Axon. I also provided you all with a copy of the body camera law. The last thing in that packet also, and I know it comes up on a lot of things, and again, something important to the city is policy. So within there as well, you have a copy of what we would consider at this point a draft policy. It's not, obviously there's some tweaking depending on vendor and a few other things, or if there's some things that, that we want to tweak as well. But it's a pretty solid policy. I was able to, again, when I was dealing with these other police agencies, get a copy of what they had, and I took basically the good that I saw from a lot of the different departments and made what I feel is a very solid policy in regards to officer-worn cameras.
Is there anybody else from the department that wants to address?
One of the other things that we did, we requested these three companies provide us quotes on a 5-year and a 10-year contract. Axon provided both quotes. Panasonic and Motorola only provided a 5-year contract. When we looked at the pricing for a 5-year contract with Axon, we're going to have a savings of approximately $300,000. For a 10-year contract, we're going to have a savings of approximately $800,000. So the cameras aren't going away, and as long as we can lock them in at the price that we have them, it's probably more beneficial to do a 10-year contract and save the $800,000. In the 10-year contract, all of the upgrades are included. So if we get the body camera 4 or 3 and they come out with the 4 next year and they're going to upgrade it, we get it for free. It's not an extra charge. The only thing they would charge us extra for, like he described today, if you wear a body camera on your vest and you make the SWAT team and now you want to put it on your helmet, the extra hardware to put it on your helmet would be an additional charge. If we increase staffing and we have to buy more cameras, it would be an additional charge. So those are the only things that we would get an increase.
And another point too, if I could ask Commander Smith to come up here, because he assists me with this. Commander Smith is our training coordinator, and another one of the points, another reason why we went more towards Axon is because of our TASER program. And it basically boils down to a single source. Single source software, and we're not having to do, our tasers is one product, cameras are another, in-cars another. So would you just speak of that just so quickly?
So in law enforcement in the United States, TASER is really the only thing that's out there that does what it does. There's nothing else. There's tons of companies that make batons. There's a ton of companies that make firearms. There's a ton of companies that make handcuffs. There's only one company that really makes a less lethal device that is electronically controlled that works the way that TASER does. Other companies have tried, they all fail. You look at just about any police officer in almost any town, by and large, most of them have that device. It's kind of a industry standard, if you will, to have that device available. And that kind of ties you into some of the product that TASER has, meaning some of their software. When we use the TASER, when we download the TASER, when we do training with the TASER, all the accounts for the TASER, everything is done through sync and evidence.com. Evidence.com is so successful that State's Attorney's Office, it's how they want all of their digital evidence management to be gone through. Moving forward, more than likely, when we have digital evidence that we recover off the street, regardless of whether we continue forward or not, they're going to want us to convert it and put it into that format, send it to them with that web access portal, evidence.com. And we already have that with TASER. It's already there. The officers already know how to use it. They don't use it as much because obviously we're not using the TASER as frequently as we would a body camera. But it's something that they're already familiar with. The familiarity part saves in training time. It saves in another application that they will have to deal with. And everybody out there, for the most part, with few exceptions, already has TASER, already has evidence.com. State's attorneys already have evidence.com. Most of the public defenders already have evidence.com. They have accounts for that, which is a beautiful thing for us because now we can manage that digital evidence that we send, whether it be a TASER log, whether it be video from a crime or video surveillance or an interview that the detectives do. We can push that stuff directly to them with a click of the mouse. We don't have to spend time making a photocopy of it, making a digital copy on a flash drive, on a CD. Doesn't have to worry about it getting scratched or broken in transit. And then when they receive it, it has a digital log of when they received it. You can't say, oh, it never got to me, or I never got to look at it. No, you got it, you looked at it at this date, at this time, and this is the people that you allowed access to it. Can't change it, they can't do anything, it's theirs now. We can share it to them in that fashion, and it creates that log the whole time. It's a beautiful part to the digital evidence management of things. We already have that process. If we go with a different company, then we have to deal with a different mechanism to be able to share that digital evidence in a whole nother program, or the good old fashioned, let's go to the store, let's buy a bunch of CDs, let's buy a bunch of thumb drives, and now we have to be dishing those things out and managing those things, or storing those things. And in this case, most of the management of the evidence, as far as the digital aspect of it, the video from the cameras or the third-party digital evidence that comes in, stored off-site. We don't have to really handle it all that much. All we have to do is be able to manage the data from the back end on our side, being able to redact it, do different things of that nature. All of that stuff happens within the evidence.com program and the software that's there, which the officers are going to have more familiarity. The more familiar they are with it, the better they're going to be with it, and the more professional they're going to be in carrying out their job. It's going to cost less time to be able to train them than just one thing versus multiple different systems.
Commander Smith hit on the redaction part of it. We know that right now that's a responsibility out of the clerk's office. We are in the process of also trying to redo the FOIA ordinance because you have to be licensed to do the redactions on the videos. You need equipment to do it. They do have a program that will automatically redact all of the faces and license plates. So it's a program that comes with the whole package that we're getting. Because we're also already have the taser, they did meet and speak with Commander Oshner today, and there is the possibility of working out a deferred payment or a broken up payment. So because I think we have one payment left on taser, or we just paid them off. So they'll work with us on as far as the payment goes.
Alderman, do you have any questions, or those of you that attended the demonstration, anything you want to add that you may not have heard here tonight?
Chief, the only thing I would add is, we're going to get 12 car cams. Will we be able to get more car cams and need more car cams in the future?
Right now, 12 will be about the max that we would need.
Okay.
The only hiccup with the car cams is we're probably not looking at them until maybe June or July of next year.
Okay.
But the car cams aren't in the mandate by the state, just the body cams are.
Okay.
Anybody else? Alderman?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so I'm just curious about the training. When you guys are putting that together, is that something you work with and yeah, maybe you can answer, with the vendor and then also looking at the state statutes and stuff like that? Like, just curious in terms of how that's developed.
So the vendor dealing with them with Taser, and for many, many years, they're far and beyond better than a lot of the other vendors. The other vendors like to sell you something, and then they send you on your way, and you kind of figure it out. For them, they want a relationship that's going to last forever because their products are here, they invest a lot of time. Generally, even when we just did this last order of Tasers just a few years ago, it's a new device, it works differently than the previous devices that we have. One of their specialists there had people come out, they help us set it up, the computer side set up, they show the super users, if you will, the trainers, how to be able to set everything up, and they're a phone call away, and they're generally going to come back out and help you out with anything that you need. I sat with them for 3 or 4 days when we set up the Tasers, was literally helping me tag them and mark them for each individual officer in the department. No other vendor really does it. They ship you the stuff, and they just good luck with it and see how it goes. Or they'll send you a PowerPoint.
But on the cameras, tell them about the training with the cameras.
So they will work with us in that fashion as far as getting it set up, getting the back end set up, teaching the instructors. Additionally, they have a whole suite of different training topics that are online that you can do, from administrators to technicians to the end user, for just about every tool that they have, because they're way more than just a Taser company or a camera company. They have all sorts of things. We can already register for those classes because we have Taser, because we have access to it, people have the accounts. I've already jumped the gun a little bit and assigned the Taser for this year, because they're pre-certified here. I've assigned them the class for this year, they've already taken it, and then I've also assigned them the body camera that we would wind up getting. So by the time that this all gets done and we actually have devices in hand, the officers will have a very large understanding of the whole system and how the actual camera works, at least the hardware works.
Correct, because the timeline that we're looking at, obviously with Axons, they're in between 12 and 16 weeks with the trainers that they have for them to come out here and train our officers. So, and again, that's just another reason why, obviously, because you may ask yourself, it's March, why are we here, this early? Because that's a part of it. So the timeline, the tentative timeline, because we all know that they can change, is we like to get the trainers here from Axon in the department late August, early September, basically the beginning of fall. Get the officers trained and give them a few months to be able to be on the street, utilizing the hardware, the technology, before we run into that big January 1st date where everything really has to be spot on. So we basically want to take that oops time turn out of it. So we want to get them out by early fall, have the cameras on the street for a few months before that January 1st date when basically it all hits.
That's all part of the package to the training.
And Commander Fellows, I had a question. You had mentioned when you were speaking to the other departments that there was service gaps. Could you speak a little bit more to like what those service gaps were?
So that company that we're basically talking about more specifically would be Motorola. I think I talked pretty loud. Would be Motorola. So it's actually it's actually kind of twofold. So a couple of the like I said, the police chiefs, and it's in there, one of which I want to say was Woodridge. They currently had the product, and again, they're looking to vet to a different company, and actually they were probably looking at moving on to Axon based upon what they were doing. So what the chief from Woodridge basically told me is if they had issues with the Motorola cameras, if they were to break, if they had glitches, it took weeks, if not months, to get the camera serviced and brought back in. And the reason I say it's a couple points, because Motorola has also recognized that, because I believe it's getting back to them. Because when I did meet with the representatives from Motorola, one of the big points that even the representatives wanted to talk to me about was customer service and how they're trying to fix it. So, and again, we have to, with this and with the mandate, and we bought a few extra just in case we need them, but we need to make sure that the guys and gals that are on the street all the time have the cameras that they need, and we can't not have them.
One thing additionally that we learned at the demonstration today is they all operate on this lithium battery. And lithium battery is only good for about 30 months. 30 months, is that correct? So they automatically will renew those cameras with new cameras so that the batteries, obviously, because they go.
Right.
So that's part of the package also. And as the chief said, an upgrade, you said they're on 3 right now?
Yeah, they're on body camera 3 right now, and they're
If they-
working on releasing 4.
And once they get 4, they will automatically switch that out for us at no additional charge.
And actually, a feature that I learned from Axon during the presentation earlier is the cameras have the ability to basically record when the officers basically don't realize it. Basically what had happened is we know, and again, this goes back to the training and the learning part of it. If an officer inadvertently forgets to turn on their body camera, as part of the law, that's built in. That's far different than I turned it off while I was in the middle of a call. That could become an issue. But what we did learn today from the representative from Axon is they have a feature built into the cameras where they keeps up to 24 hours worth of film. It's just video, no audio, that with the proper authorities or permissions on obviously the supervisor end. And again, this is just what we heard today. We're able to go back into those individual cameras and actually pull video from them if they did not turn them on their own.
It also has mechanisms where if you turn your lights on in a squad car, it starts recording. If you pull your weapon, it starts recording. If you pull any one of your weapons, less than lethal or lethal, it all starts recording.
Which is not that's not a feature that some of the other companies have. Some of them have the weapons feature, but they do not have the access to be able to do it with the taser. Because the taser is made by the same company, it's able to talk to the camera. So if you turn your taser on, it talks to the camera, makes sure the camera's on. All the cameras talk to all the other cameras. So if I'm on a call and these guys show up 10 minutes later, my camera's on and they forget because they're running to help me, their cameras are automatically going to turn on by proximity. They have a lot of features that a lot of the other companies don't, and those are the big advantages of Axon versus something, say, like Motorola, which a lot of the other departments have issues with, is it's just a change of environment for them. It's a new habit that they have to do. The other technologies are harder technologies. It's like your cell phone. You have to turn it on, you have to turn it off. The Axon stuff's a little bit smarter, integrates with the other systems in an ecosystem, so to speak, a little bit better.
It also integrates with our CAD system that we have for service calls. So when the officers have a call, they don't have to manually tag each call on their recorded device. The CAD system will automatically tag it. So if you're the guy sitting there having to review the camera footage, you don't have to worry about all of this. You just go right to where it's tagged, and the CAD system automatically will do that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mayor, just a quick question, guys. So for the 150 cameras, that's for all the police officers and the auxiliary, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's great. And then I was just reading here on the Cicero, what they were doing with the RMS system. I could imagine that's a records management system.
Correct, so that's the point that the chief is making. The two companies that they're currently vetting for the new RMS CAD system that we are, that's another project that the department's working on. Those two systems have that similar that Cicero has.
Okay.
Where, like the chief was saying, I guess the best way to describe it is if we send 3 officers on a burglar alarm call based upon the CAD, the system recognizes that Officer Reyes, Officer Rivera, and Officer Bertuca went on that call. So at the end, when the CAD is closed out, it will then recognize and be able to tag those 3 videos from those 3 officers as being a part of that burglar alarm call, which again falls into the back end where again we're trying to save, because it's not, like I said, it's not just about the hardware and software, it's about staff. And we also know it's not just salary, it's benefits, it's a lot, there's a lot more to it.
Right. So the system already includes this, or is this something separate?
No, it currently will talk with our current CAD system, and the 2 companies that are left that we're talking to for the records, RMS and the CAD system, the new stuff, it works fine with both of them.
Okay. So like it's basically software you guys already have that's going to connect with it.
Correct.
Okay.
Questions? Anybody?
Chief, can I just add one thing? Can you do a current staff study on the police officers to make sure that we're with the levels of the federal and state levels? I know it's been a while, it's been about 3 years, 4 years.
Sure, I can, 2 weeks, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, in the next 4 weeks or so, just sworn police officers that are on the street.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Chief, so how does payment work for this? Is it all up front, a one-time payment?
No, there is an upfront cost, and then it's spread out equally over 10 years.
Okay. And then have we talked about, well, not we, you and me, but what discussions have taken place on how this will be funded?
Well,
I mean, it's a tough position because it's not a,
it's a very tough position because it's an unfunded mandate. We have a couple of other projects that we're in the infinite stages with that we're working on that might help subsidize some of this. We don't know yet if it's going to take off and get off the ground. So I don't know how we're going to fund it at this point in time, but we have to. I don't want to take a chance on losing the grant money for the whole city.
And speaking of grants too, we're obviously looking at grants for these projects too. The issue with that, the way that officer worn camera grants work is it's after the purchase. There aren't any grants out there, like the state, Aletzby, our training bureau, has grants for cameras, but the way that they're written is you have to have them previously purchased, like from the year before, in order to qualify for the current year's grant. Like I want to say for the 2023 grant through the Illinois State, you had to have had the camera before June 1st of last year through January of 23. So obviously next year we'll be applying for as many grants as we can.
And I believe that with the reserves we have, if they can't find the sufficient funds, we're well above our required amount for reserves, that we should have enough to at least make the first payment. I think Finance Director Daish has been involved in some conversation, is trying to find other means, but if worst-case scenario is that we have that.
okay, that's great. And while grant money is always sweet to have, I never like to rely on it. It's very unreliable. Here today, gone tomorrow.
Correct.
So, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have nothing else for Committee of the Whole, so I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Ruiz by Lennon, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Robert. I'm good.
On this one, Marge, once we turn it down, then can they put it on hold if one of the signs on the block go away, or?
No,
That doesn't work that way?
No, we would close it out and then
'Cause
they'd have
they
to
got the-
apply
You know, I
some
talked
other
to them, they got 2 cars in the garage, and, I think they got, it's hard for them to get around, I get it,
Yeah.
but, okay, I'm, go along.
Are you gonna go along with staff recommendation? Sure. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I mean, if we, get the junk cars out of the garage, and, what does it say, I don't know, what the.
They have a parking pad, I think, in also,
Yeah,
yeah,
so, but that blocks off, it's too much,
yeah.
going on. So,
It's so
I
fun.
might have a check done on the amount of vehicles, vehicle tax bought on that block, 'cause, no code can do that.
Oh, that's easy enough
Yeah.
for her to know, yeah.
And see, because they had somebody else calling, crying across the, they got 5 cars, same block,
Yeah.
so.
Well, it's really tough and, to take up 22 feet for, I mean, you can, 1 or 2 people you can understand, but where do everybody else go?
No, there's two there. There might be a third
Bob,
one.
we get about 5 new applications for handicap parking a week,
In the last week?
every week. It's awful. And early in last spring, I worked with Nicole and Maria Cooper, and we were gonna put a communication on, because as it stood last year, you could park bumper to bumper from Roosevelt all the way past Ogden, on Lake Harlem. The length of handicap parking cars we have. We were just taking up so much space.
How many we up to, 200 something?
Oh, easily, yeah.
I know we got a lot. I thought, who did I say? I got one she needs to take out because they sold the house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll tell her, but they probably didn't notify her.
That helps, but it's really,
And this is right around the block from there. It's
Yeah.
on 28th and Highland. They moved.
everybody my age or a little older is asking for handicap parking.
Yeah, just because, I got bad knees or,
Yeah.
it doesn't cut it.
The safest place is to park in your garage. Because the longer it takes for you to get out of the driver's car, the more likely you are going to get hit by a car.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, so. All right, well, that's good. Thanks, Bob. Oh, I wanted to talk to,
Talk to me.
no, I wanted to talk to Joe Carmichael about the deferred item on
Yeah.
this
Yeah, I don't
thing.
know what,
I think this is going to
I don't know, because I talked to him, I said, Joe, what are you doing? He goes, well, he was against that time because he didn't know much about it.
Yeah. I'm going to run
So
downstairs
what
and
the
double
use
check.
is going to be up. back to your buddy.
Clerk Paul, can you call the council meeting to order, please?
Lennon,
Here.
Roywood,
Here.
Leisha,
Here.
Bate,
Here.
Pabon,
Here.
Ruiz,
Here.
Aaronella,
Here.
Carmichael.
Here.
8 present, Mayor.
Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing? If we could please keep in our thoughts and prayers the family of Michael Wesley, who's age 30. He's the brother of Darlene Wesley, who works in our Public Works, and Patrick Murray, one of our local adjudicators. He has recently passed away. Let's also keep in mind all the men and women we have on the street tonight. Thank you. If anybody from the audience wishes to address the open forum, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address. Could you take that mic, ma'am, and please put it on the podium and make sure it's on, please?
Test, test, test. Hi, I have a copy of the letter I'm going to read. Got copies for each of the aldermen, one for the mayor, one for city clerk. Thank you very much. My name is Ann Wilmore, and I'm here representing the Berwyn Tree Canopy Initiative Community Group. I want to remind the city that they need to release an RFP for a tree care contractor. It appears that Lyons Tree Service is continuing to provide tree maintenance for the city, presumably on the same terms as its contract that ended in 2022. Please remember that tree care contract was written with improper specifications for tree pruning, simply stating that mature trees need to have all branches removed 16 or 17 feet up the trunk. That is not an appropriate tree pruning specification. Rather, the pruning requirements need to indicate clearance for the street and structures, removal of diseased, dead, and dying wood, a maximum size for removal of living wood, and attention to the tree's overall form, all maintenance practice in keeping with national standards. Berwyn's trees have been plagued by poor pruning practices by Lyons Tree Service, and a well-worded tree care contract will be an important step in remedying this. On a related note, I spoke today with a homeowner in the 3100 block of Home Avenue, whose healthy, very large Parkway linden tree was removed last week. Here's what she told me. She was notified in October that the tree would be removed, so she phoned Public Works to say she wanted the tree to stay. She had a professional look at the tree, and they said it was fine. The homeowner was satisfied that she had contacted Public Works and had a healthy tree on her hands. Her natural expectation was to hear back from Public Works to continue discussion of her healthy tree. Then, last week, without warning, poof, the tree was removed. No X marking it for removal. Lyons Tree Service simply cut the tree down. I looked up the tree's condition as it was listed in the city's tree inventory in 2015 and in 2022. In both surveys, the tree was listed as, quote, good, and had no special notes regarding it. No indication anything was wrong with it, no notes that it should be watched going forward, simply a healthy tree as of last spring. Was the city remiss in not marking the tree with an X, or did Lyons Tree Service go rogue and cut it down based on an out-of-date list? Whatever happened, the tree is gone now, and the homeowner had no opportunity to refute its removal. Trees should never be cut down in Berwyn without being marked with an X well in advance, as per the city tree ordinance. Our future contracts for tree removal need to include a clause that imposes a significant penalty for improper tree removal, reflecting the full value of a grown tree. The loss of a tree is not merely an aesthetic one. It impacts an individual home's value, and it impacts the surrounding property value. The city needs to protect Berwyn's trees by holding any tree service accountable for improperly destroying trees. Thank you for your attention today. I hope all of you will take steps to ensure the city secures a tree pruning and removal contract that will help protect Berwyn's tree canopy for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience wish to address the open forum? There's somebody coming up.
Oh, sorry. My name is Patricia Kasarak, and I've been living in Berwyn for 3 years, and sadly, I was wondering this one question. You have a magazine that says how beautiful Berwyn is, but it's not. I talked to the alderman. I found out that he's not the alderman anymore, Santori. He says there's no landlord-tenant rights in Berwyn. What happened was I live at 2142 Highland Avenue, side street corner from the 24-hour laundromat. Because I was washing the floor in Pinefeld in apartment 214, my landlord didn't like it. His name is Antonio. He said his brother owns the building. He talked to my boyfriend at the time, and he said, well, I have an apartment in 208. How about moving there? Both of our mistakes was not getting it checked out before we moved in. We were trying to get the cooking gas on, and when the gas company came out 3 times, they couldn't get the door open. When they finally came open, I have the papers in my familia. They gave me a piece of paper that says, with the cooking gas on and the pilot light off, there'll be fumes coming in, so they had to turn off the cooking stove, and the stove is a very old stove. And I've been under doctor's care since I've been living there. I've been losing weight, and it's like, it's a bad apartment building, and especially when the landlord leaves the apartment, the tenants control the building. They all know I'm afraid of dogs. When I went to the Cicero Town Hall meeting, I said, you know, what do you do about discrimination in apartment renting? The Berwyn, Larry Delamy says, I don't believe it. So I said, thank you for letting me talk. I went to bingo the next day, and I want to thank the policewoman. I don't know who she is. She helped me a lot on the phone because I was 1 block before you get to Ridgeland by McDonald's, and an African-American couple was standing there, and a dog came up to me, and I had my phone. So I want to thank her for her response, whoever the name is. But something's got to be done with these landlords. I mean, I get SSA, and hopefully I'll be getting another security job, and it's not right. I mean, the building, the neighborhood itself looks fancy compared to Cicero. It looks very fancy, and I read the magazine and everything, but you can't have tenants control the building, and the landlord has to be accountable. Why would he run it in an apartment knowing that the cooking gas don't work? Just because I washed something on a pine saw, and then I'm losing weight. My hair used to be real long, now it's got to do it all over again. I was supposed to be in my choir rehearsal today, so I had to cancel it to come here. But landlords have to be held accountable when they own a building. If they could afford a building, they could afford a stove. And it's sad, and I'm just saying what Santori told me over the phone. I never met the guy in person, but over the phone, he says there's no landlord-tenant rights in Berwyn.
Alderman Pavone is taking down the information, and he and I will talk about what we can do to help you out.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else for open forum from the audience? Sandy?
Just briefly, I just want to say, I had a little problem with telemarketers and some other things, and I called Commander Gio Maffredini because I've known him a while, and he gave me some sage advice. Then I had some other things. He said, well, that's kind of a community thing, so he transferred me to Gavin Zarbach. Is that right, Zarbach? And he was very helpful. We ironed out everything, and I just want to say thank you. That's why I live in this city, and I will die in this city. I appreciate the police. I appreciate all they do. I know we've had some problems recently, and it's been very, very busy. I know my next-door neighbor, who's a Cicero policeman, says they've been very busy also. And I just want to say, it's a thankless job. I said to Gavin, my block thanks you. My block thanks you. They thank me. I said, they are very reticent to call the police to say thanks, of course, or to even call the police. They're afraid because they're used to a different kind of police thing from where they came from. But they appreciate it, and I told him, and he said, it's very rare that we hear a pat on the back or a thank you. I said, you get criticism? He said, that comes by easily, but I just want to say thanks, and I want to say it for the entire 7100 block of Riverside Drive, because they've been great, and we've been blessed. So thanks to the police department.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else from the audience? Alderman, anything for open forum? Okay, hearing none. Item C1, please.
Item C1 are the minutes of the public hearing of March 14th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed 2023 budget appropriation ordinance minutes of March 14th, 2023.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Fate, to approve the 2023 budget appropriation ordinance minutes from the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item C2, please.
Item C2 are the minutes of the Committee of the Whole and the regular meeting of March 14th, 2023.
I'll make the motion to approve the Committee of the Whole and regular City Council meeting minutes of March 14th, 2023.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Fate, to approve the Committee of the Whole and the City Council minutes of March 14th, 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item F1, please.
Item F1 is a communication from the mayor with a resolution reading, a resolution calling for a binding referendum to consider nonpartisan primary and general elections in the city of Berwyn, county of Cook, state of Illinois.
I'll make a motion to defer this communication.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Lazy, to defer the communication. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item F2, please.
Item F2 is a communication from the mayor regarding the appointment of Anna Espinoza to the library board.
I'll make a motion to concur with Mayor Lavero's appointment of Anna Espinoza to the Berwyn Library Board and thank Rosemary Couric for her years of service on the library board.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Fate, to concur with the mayor's appointment of Anna Espinoza to the library board and thank Rosemary for her years of service to the library. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item G1, please.
Item G1 is a communication from the clerk regarding handicap parking applicant at 2828 Harvey.
Be my motion to concur with the city clerk and deny the application.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Lennon, to concur with the city clerk and deny the application for handicap parking at 2828 Harvey. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I1, please.
Item I1 is a communication from Alderman Pabon regarding ad hoc rat abatement committee meeting, committee minutes of March 23rd, 2023.
I would like to make the motion. Oops, sorry. I would like to make the motion.
Mine's going off and on, too.
There you go. Nobody wants this motion. I would like to make the motion that City Council accepts the minutes from the ad hoc rat abatement committee from 3/23 as informational.
Second.
Motion by Pabon, seconded by Aaronello, to consider the minutes of the ad hoc roding committee from March 23rd as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J1, please.
Item J1 is a deferred communication, J6, from the March 14th, 2023 meeting.
It would be my motion to defer item J1 until time for zoning appeal has exhausted, or such time that the zoning board has canceled their process.
Second.
Motion by Carmichael, seconded by Lennon, to defer item J1 until such time as the time for a zoning application is canceled or zoning has completed their process. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J2, please.
J2 is a communication from Police Chief Simaglia regarding North Berwyn School District 98 parade and request for city services.
I motion that we approve the D98 Children's Day Parade on 4/28 between 4:30 and 5:30 as informational.
Second.
Motion by Aaronella, seconded by Pabon, to concur with Chief Simaglia and considers communication authorizing the District 98 Children's Parade as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J3, please.
J3 is a communication from Chief Simaglia regarding notice of parade approval and authorization of services.
I motion to concur with Chief Samaglia on the approval of D98 Cancer Walk on 5/17 between 4 and 8 p.m. as informational.
Second.
Motion by Aaronella, second by Ruiz, to concur with Chief Simaglia for the authorization of the Cancer Walk District 98 on May 17th and consider the communication informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J4, please.
J4 is a communication from Chief Simaglia regarding authorization to contract for police body cameras and other electronics.
I move that we concur with Police Chief Samaglia's request for authorization to purchase body-worn cameras and other electronics.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Lennon, to concur with the request from Chief Simaglia and allow the purchase to contract with Axon for body-worn cameras. All those in...
question. Is
Yes.
that a 5-year or the 10-year contract?
He said it's a 10-year contract, but he said he was going for the 10-year contract at Committee of the Whole, because we have a savings of $800,000 with that. All those in favor on the call of the roll?
Lennon.
Aye.
Boywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Bate.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J5, please.
J5 is a communication from City Attorney Bertucca regarding 22 WC 008817.
Be my motion to concur with City Attorney Bartuca, settle case 22 WC 008817 in the amount of $12,500 based on City Council authority granted in executive session.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Ruiz, to concur with the recommendation of Attorney Bertucca in the above captioned workers' comp case for the settlement of $12,500 based on authority granted in executive session. All those in favor on the call of the roll?
Lennon.
Aye.
Boywood.
Aye.
Leisure.
Aye.
Bate.
Aye.
Pabon.
Aye.
Ruiz.
Aye.
Aaronella.
Aye.
Carmichael.
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J6, please.
Item J6 is communication from City Attorney Bertucca regarding 22 WC 005122.
My motion to concur with City Attorney Bartuca and settle case 22-WC-005122 in the amount of $28,083 based on City Council authority granted in executive session.
Second.
Motion by Fate, second by Ruiz, to concur with the recommendation in the captioned workman's comp case to settle for the amount of $28,083 based on authority granted in executive session. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J7, please.
J7 is a communication from Attorney Bertuca regarding 22-WC-005828.
Be my motion to concur with Attorney Bertuca and settle case 22-WC-005828 in the amount of $12,354.55 based on City Council authority granted in executive session.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Ruiz, to concur with Attorney Bertuca in settling the captioned workers' comp case in the amount of $12,354.55 based on authority granted in executive session. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure? Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J8.
J8 is a communication from City Attorney Bertuca regarding 20-WC-012261.
Be my motion to concur with City Attorney Bartuca and settle case 20-WC-012261 in the amount of $25,000 based on City Council authority granted in executive session.
Second.
Motion by Fate, seconded by Ruiz, to concur with Attorney Bertuca in settling the workers' comp case in the amount of $25,000 as granted in executive session. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item J9, please.
J9 is a communication from Finance Director Daish regarding declaration of surplus property.
Appropriate motion would be to concur with the declaration of Financial Director Daish of surplus property for the Ford Expedition.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Ruiz, to concur with Finance Director Daish and declare the 2008 Ford Expedition as surplus property. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J10, please. I'm sorry, J9. No, that was,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, J10.
J10.
I'm one off. J10.
J10 is a communication from Public Works Director Schiller with regard to a recommendation toward design and construction engineering.
It'd be my motion to concur with Director Schiller to recommending award of the topographical preliminary field engineering services for the Cermak Road Water Main Sewer and Roadway improvements to Robinson Engineering for an estimated fee of $124,400.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, seconded by Aaronella, to concur with Director Schiller and approve the award of the topographical preliminary field engineering services to Robinson Engineering for the estimated amount of $124,400. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Aaronella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. The consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Roywood to accept the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Alderman and committee meetings. Alderman Lennon.
Call to chair.
Alderman Roywood.
Call the chair.
Alderman Leisure.
I am inviting all to kick off the citywide month-long celebrations and activities commemorating Earth Day and Arbor Day by joining me for Community Third Ward cleanup this Saturday, April 1st, beginning at 9 a.m. on the corner of Oak Park Avenue and Stanley Avenue.
Call of the chair on committee meeting.
No.
Yes, call of the chair on committee meeting. Alderman Fate.
Call the chair.
Alderman Pabon.
Call the chair.
Alderman Ruiz.
Call the chair.
Alderman Aaronella.
Ward cleanup, April 15th, Saturday, April 15th. Call the chair.
Alderman Carmichael.
Call the chair. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Carmichael, seconded by Lennon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Claudia probably needs a battery.
Did I say let it go?
Oh, man, I gotta sit with them.
Brilliant motion, Joe.
It flows off the tongue.